It's a testament to his talents that decades after he stopped playing, he's still the biggest name in football, the undisputed king of soccer, Pele. For years, he fascinated the world with his samba-like moves and inspired newer generations of Brazilian soccer superstars like Ronaldo and Neymar.
The greatest soccer player in history, Pele, passed away at 82. He will always be remembered as a real legend in the game of soccer. Notwithstanding his stardom, his life was lined up with some sinister complexities. Pele wasn't only a great athlete, he was also a regular guy with flaws and errors like every other person. Probably he could have wished to take back the hands of the clock so he could erase some events from his life forever. But the shadows of the past followed him till his final breath. One of which was the denial of his child from an affair early in the days. Pele was born to a former footballer and he was raised in a little cabin in Brazil and came from a poor family. The young man began working at a young age, shining shoes. He would want to be like his father, who was also a footballer. Therefore, he played in the streets using either a sock stuffed with papers and tied together with a string of grapefruit. He began his footballing career at the age of 15 and won his first World Cup at 17. He was immediately recognized as a national hero in his own nation and was loved by people all over the world. He went on to win 2 more World Cups in 1962 and 1970. You cannot mention the game of football without acknowledging Pele. Of course, he was that good. Among the most prominent and well-liked sports personalities of the 20th century is Pele. His accomplishments are listed as a Guinness World Record, and he was also named one of the top 100 figures of the 20th century. But like many great individuals, he was not without flaws and dark sides. Pele had a complicated love life, getting married 3 times and having several relationships. When he was younger, neither rich nor renowned, he first fell in love, but the girl's father prevented them from dating. The sportsman chose to get married at the age of 26. Rosemary was a regular Brazilian girl who became his wife. In January 1967 of the following year, they had their first child, Kelly Christina. In 1970, Edinho, their first son, was born, and in 1978, Jennifer was born. The couple soon found out that, except for their passion in dancing, they had little in common, which led to the troubles in their marriage. In addition, Pele also traveled much for work, spent a lot of time training, and seldom spent with his family. Later, he freely revealed that he cheated on his wife and that he made no effort to conceal his extramarital encounters. His first marriage ended in 1982. Later on, Pele started dating TV host Xuxa. The lady was just 17 years of age and he was 41. People weren't comfortable with the couple's connection because of the couple's age gap. Additionally, locals believed that the girl was dating the sports star because of his fame and fortune. The renowned soccer legend and the youthful TV host had a 7-year romance, but in 1994 their romance came to an end. In April 1994, he married the psychologist and gospel singer Asiria Lemos Seisas, who gave birth to twins Joshua and Celeste in 1996. They divorced in 2008, and the 75-year-old Pele remarried for the 3rd time in July 2016 to Marcia Ayoki, 41, a Japanese-Brazilian importer of medical equipment. Pele had so many extramarital relationships, that he couldn't even recall how many children he had. The most dramatic and tragic part of this is that Pele was known to have at least 2 illegitimate children, and for many years he refused to acknowledge one of them. He did recognize Fulvia Coates as his daughter after an extramarital affair with journalist Lenita Coates in 1968, but refused to acknowledge Sandra Machado, who was born from an affair with housemaid Anisia Machado in 1964. It is well known that Pele neglected Sandra and gave her mother no financial support. The kid wanted to see her biological father since Anisia always told her daughter the truth about who her father was. Pele, though, disregarded her and refused to acknowledge that she was his daughter. Sandra filed a lawsuit and asked for a DNA test. The soccer player first resisted granting the DNA test, but eventually gave in to pressure. The court determined that Sandra, who was then 27 years old, is in fact Pele's daughter after the case lasted for 5 years. Sandra revealed her difficult experience in the book, The Daughter the King Didn't Want. I can imagine how tough it would have been for Sandra, having to grow up without a father figure in her life. Pele explained in one of his interviews, he said, "I was a normal youth and had many adventures." She was then given permission to use Pele's last name in 1996. The athlete was compelled to accept his errors and start building a relationship with his daughter, but it was already too late. Sandra lost her fight with illness in 2006. She never received financial support from her father, but she did win justice and acknowledgement. She was just 42 years old and she was married with 2 kids. This was a terrible tragedy for Pele, but he couldn't have the courage to go to her funeral.